Good morning, everyone. I am Mimi Lichtenstein, and I'm here today with my friend and colleague, Alfonso Sumano. Welcome to the show, Alfonso.
Thank you very much, Mimi. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I am so thrilled to have you on today, and partly because we're talking about San Miguel de Allende, a place I've been looking forward to going to for probably 10, 15 years. And I finally went last week. And having the show follow that so closely is very exciting. And I know you love it as much as I do. So we have lots of fun things to talk about today. Um, so tell us a little bit about, in general, San Miguel de Allende is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You want to give us a little bit more background on where it is in Mexico and a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. San Miguel de Allende is a very well-known town at this point. You know, it was voted 3 years in a row by Condé Nast Traveler readership as the most beautiful small city in the world. So people really love it. And then you have a large community of expatriates, you know, even living there or that have made San Miguel their home. Most of them related to art. So as you can tell, when we talk about this beautiful small city, you were talking about the location. So you got Mexico City, and this city is pretty much a little bit northwest from Mexico City. If you would drive from this big city to San Miguel, it will take you like 4 hours, though it's accessible also by through two airports at least, the one in Leon or Guanajuato Airport, and then the one in Querétaro, which is a neighbor state. But I would, generally speaking, say that San Miguel is very centrally located in the Mexican Republic. It's in central Mexico, colonial city.
Mhm. And one thing we talked about earlier was it's not super easy to get to, meaning a lot of nonstops for Americans. Mostly you have to go through Dallas or Houston, but what I can say is it's absolutely worth the efforts. The
Yes.
picture that we have up here of, this beautiful, colorful street with the church at the background of it, you can take those photos. I mean, I'm not a great photographer, but the amount of beautiful photos you get in this town is incredible. It's like every corner has another beautiful photo to take.
That's the Pink Cathedral, and it is very iconic in San Miguel de Allende. It's a Gothic style, so you are not expecting to see this kind of architecture combined with a colonial, 16th century founded city. So it's really impressive what you can see
Mhm.
there.
And whether it be nighttime, daytime, no matter what, it's absolutely beautiful. Um, okay, let's dive into a few of the different kinds of experiences. We're starting with the active ones, and these are kind of funny pictures because where I was staying, it was very near, I think it was the Parque El Chorro, and there are steps because San Miguel de Allende is essentially built on the side of a hill that faces west, which is why there are so many beautiful places to see the sunset. And because of that, you're on a hill. To get up the hill, there are some stairs. You don't always go up this way, but for exercise, I did. And I was amazed that there were a lot of other Mexican people walking up and down these stairs for exercise during the day. I saw them almost every day I was out there. It's not a super long way up, but it's definitely worth it if you want to get some exercise in before your chilaquiles breakfast. And then tell us a little bit about the Rosewood. I took this picture when I was there. They have two tennis courts. So, you can have fun being active, just playing tennis like you do at home, or even on the outskirts, there's golf too, right?
Yes, there is one course. Yeah, they do have two tennis courts. You know, the Rosewood is a beautiful property with one of the most amazing terraces in my view. They have 67, less than 70 rooms, but it's still a boutique kind of feeling property.
Mhm.
And definitely, well, since this is very centrally located, as I was telling you, pretty much all of the tours that you could get into, like a city tour in San Miguel, or going to the galleries, going to the testings, and so on. If you decide to do it, you can do it by walking to the places. So
Mhm.
pretty much you can be as active in San Miguel as you would may. And then, if you think about Europe and walking around towns and that kind of experience, this is very competitive to that. You can do that too here.
Mhm. And what I love about the location of Rosewood, and we'll talk about the hotels again a little bit later, is that it's also near, I think it's Benito Juarez Park, which is a beautiful little park to walk around. They also have a basketball court where I saw some students during the day playing basketball. So it's really such a manageable size city that it's easy to walk around, but it also has some green spaces, and Rosewood has a lot of green spaces. And then on the outskirts, so the hills and the country surrounding it, I know you guys have some people go out horseback riding. You want to tell us a little bit about what other things you can do on the outskirts of San Miguel?
This is like a real, ranch kind of experience, because it's
Mhm.
not only the horse ride back. I mean, this is a very interesting tour that we actually have available. And then it will, you will be picked up at your hotel at, let's say, 8 a.m. And the whole tour is going to probably last between 7 and 8 hours, according to your expectations and will to do. But the horse, this particular experience will be like 3 or 4 hours, and as I was telling you, very authentic ranch experience around town. And then you will visit, a place that I enjoy a lot. Is called El Rio La Virgen, in
Mm.
which you are going to see, a totally different scenery than you've seen before in the area of San Miguel de Allende. You can even visit one of those. Within the ranch, how people make cheese in that very area. So it's pretty interesting. Even you are able, if you will, to milk a cow right there. So as I was telling you, it's kind of a very interesting kind of experience just outside in the outskirts of the city of San Miguel.
And I assume the river is near, I believe there's also an archaeological site, Cañada de Virgin, where people told me they like to go hiking if they're going to go hiking at sunrise to see the sun come up.
Oh yeah, it's a Cañada de la Virgen
Yeah.
next to the river, and then it's not only hiking, but you can also do rappelling there.
Okay. And
Rappel,
then there's water out
pretty
there
amazing.
too. So there's opportunity to go kayaking, stand up paddleboarding.
Yeah,
So
whatever activities that you can do in a river, yes, for
yeah,
sure.
so lots of
For
fun.
more adventurous people, right?
Right. Well, we're all a little adventurous with me. And I love this. I took this actually from the rooftop of the hotel I was staying at first. And essentially, during I think about 4 months of winter, there are these storks that fly through San Miguel de Allende, and they make their nests in these trees and have their, lay their eggs, hatch their babies, and then they move on from there. And it was such like a surprising sight because there were 3 trees that were probably full of, I don't know, 20 or 30 birds apiece, and they just kept taking off and going and finding a twig and bringing it back to perhaps their partner to make a nest. So it's a really beautiful scene, and you can actually see it just walking down the street. I love this was another
Pretty
one of
amazing.
yeah, another one of the adventurous things to do out in the outskirts, to go ATVing, which involves going through water, which I think if someone's there with teenagers would be super fun. And I do think, by the way, San Miguel de Allende, a lot of couples go there or friends go there, but it's also a great place to take teenagers because it's so safe. There's so much shopping. There's lots of great food. There's lots of great activities to do. So I would absolutely bring my kiddos back here for a visit. These were a couple of shots of just walking around the streets, and you could see, Alfonso knows this, but there's cobblestone everywhere, part of the UNESCO heritage, preservation. So it's not a good place to bring high-heeled shoes. It's not even a great place to bring wedge shoes. I could tell you that because I tried walking around in them one day. There are people who just drive around in, ATVs, because the streets are so narrow, so it helps them get around to different places. And this was a funny picture of a police car. There's not many places you go in the world where there's police cars that are actually ATVs driving down the road. So that was kind of fun. And then tell us a little bit about cooking classes. Cooking is such a big part of the culture of Mexico, number one, and San Miguel de Allende has such a, I would say, high level of culinary scene.
Absolutely. Well, listen, there are a couple of very nice street markets that I love, and then pretty much some of these private areas for you to have it could be a cooking class or a cooking demonstration. If you're like me, I'm probably not that agile. I'm not that good to do the cooking, but I love the cooking demonstration. So you are able actually to go in a family. You were talking about your kids, so you can bring your kids and then go and get the ingredients along with the chef to the street market, and then just go upstairs and do the cooking class either, or cooking demonstration, as long as you may want, and then enjoy your food, or the food that you already made, right, with a lot of local ingredients, because everything is fresh out of the market right there. So people really enjoy this kind of tours, and it's what we call the market to kitchen afternoon experience in the heart of San Miguel de Allende, with local ingredients. I was telling you that they produce cheese in the outskirts of the city. There are a couple of wineries as well. So all of the culinary scene, it's amazing, and the ingredients and all of the influences in Central Mexican cuisine is actually reflected in these demonstrations.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I actually do love doing hands-on cooking classes, but even if people don't, to just be a part of the conversation with a chef, to go to the market and then see them prepare the food, is also a really fun way to enjoy one of your meals. And we did do a cooking class while we were there, and I loved it. I love coming home with the recipe to be able to replicate it at home. I even bought some ceramics when we were in one of the art areas, which you and I will talk about in a few minutes. So it's a really fun opportunity to be able to reminisce about your trip after you come home. And these are a couple photos of two of my favorite tacos that I had while I was there. The left one is of a soft shell crab taco that I had on one of the beautiful terraces at Atrio, which is well located right next to the beautiful cathedral. And then the other one is actually a jicama. Instead of a tortilla, it's a jicama shell, or tortilla, but it's of jicama. And then it was shrimp with crispy fried leeks on top. And that was at Azotea. So I highly recommend both of those places. And I think another fun thing people can do is go on food tours, where you might go from place to place, sampling different types of food at each different location and not stay at any of them too long. I actually went to a taco place that was a vegan taco restaurant that was recommended to me. And when I got there, I realized it was vegan, and I'm not vegan, but the food was delicious. So even if you do normally not eat vegan, I still think it would be a great place. And I love this shot because, as you and I said, the church is so beautiful from every different angle. The colors are beautiful. And that park, tell us a little bit about the park that's actually in the front of here. That seems to be the centerpiece of the town.
That is the central plaza, and as you can tell, I mean, from every single angle, whenever you are seeing the pink cathedral, as they call it, it's an amazing view. So local people actually, and many people living in San Miguel, would go and spend time just in the park, sitting down, below the beautiful shade of those very well taken care of trees. And it's just like a center for people to actually reunite, and then spend a few hours in the afternoon and have an ice cream or something else, and just talk, So this is like a very central, it's actually called the Central Plaza, and then people just gather there for many reasons.
Yeah. And do you know what else was really beautiful as we talk a bit about the culture? There was a wedding going on when we were there. And so everyone was leaving the church when we walked by, and they were dressed to the nines, long gowns, really done up. And it was really fun to see, the experience of someone getting married in another culture and what everybody, wears to it. And the bride was beautiful. And everyone who was there just enjoying the park was, watching and seeing what was going on. So it seems like it's just the place where, if you want to see what Mexican families do on a Sunday afternoon, right, just go hang out in this park and see them relaxing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was beautiful. All right, tell us a little bit about the music of San Miguel.
Well, pretty much, it's not only San Miguel in this case. In the whole central Mexico, we love music and we love parties, right? So pretty much could be, as you said, a wedding out in the street. So people are just gathering there and enjoying the party. But actually, you can enjoy as well this kind of what we call bandas. And they would just walk around playing music everywhere in the downtown area, or even at evening time. They do what we call a serenata, or serenading. So pretty much it's romantic music being played in all of the callejoneada or the callejones, these small narrow streets, and people just follow the music. So pretty much you can have something to eat and then something to drink in the central area of San Miguel. Listen to the music, follow the musicians, and you're going to have one of the most amazing evenings in town. Just because it's all about art, the music, and talking to people surrounding you, and really getting the way, as you said, the Mexicans live their local culture.
Mm-hmm. And
Music is part of it.
how is a banda technically different than a mariachi, which is a specific type of music?
It is totally different. As you can see, the instruments are actually different. So
Mm-hmm.
in the mariachi band, you will have the trumpets, right?
Mm-hmm.
To really hear the mariachi music band. And an official mariachi band will be composed at least of 8 elements. And a band that could be even much larger than that, with this kind of different instruments. And the music is actually different. You have a lot of air instruments, as you can see here. So pretty much you can hear this music from 2 or 3 blocks from where they are actually playing. So it's a big party all at the same time.
Okay. Well, we saw some mariachi who were playing music, and people just got up from the park and they were dancing and having fun. So it definitely contributes to a very sort of lively, culture. I think it was on a Friday night. And I mentioned before,
Some
oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that some of these musicians are actually, standing by next to the park and that central area for people to come and hire them. And actually, let's say that you have a birthday, I don't know, and your family is in the hotel, and you would like to bring music to them. You are able to hire the musicians and take them with you and have like a very nice live party out of the nowhere. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so fun.
A lot of
And
fun.
then some of the art. So San Miguel de Allende has so much art. You want to give us a little bit of insight about that part of the culture?
Absolutely. Well, the shopping in San Miguel is amazing. It's full of, as I was telling you, contemporary art, and people actually, if some of the private tours that we are able to put together in San Miguel are actually, private in a way that you are going to meet and greet the artist. So they would, you visit the galleries, you visit any kind of space, creative space that they've got, and you will be actually interacting with the artist and knowing what that art, contemporary art, is actually all about. We have a couple of tours. If you visit, let's say, the Instituto Cultural that you were talking about earlier, you can actually see the process of the wool rocks made there, right, by the artists. Or you can come to La Aurora, which I believe, and I hope that you can share with us your recent visit to La Aurora, and the cultural center for the arts school, where you can see all of the I don't know if the right translation in English is papier-mache or papier-mache,
Vermicelli.
paper
Yeah.
papier-mache, and then you can get to the studios of people and actually see how that is performed, right? Also, I mean, in terms of the Mexican art, you can see I don't know if you had the opportunity to see the murals, but there are a couple of very interesting to me, at least in my view, from, there is an artist called David Leonardo Chavez, and of course, David Siqueiro. And those murals are pretty impressive right in central San Miguel. So pretty much, San Miguel de Allende is all about an immersion of a cultural live art ambience, right? And if you like handcrafts and all kind of made of all kind of materials, even papier-mache or the rocks, I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can see and experience here.
Yeah. I would say Aurora was surprising to me because it's so big and it has such a variety of arts, painting, murals. They had lots of, I guess they were probably, paper mache, but like clay figures, glass blowing. I mean, just was remarkable. And how many statues there were outside, big pieces, small pieces. I ended up buying several clay, different size clay pots for my kitchen, which I absolutely loved, and made it home without breaking them. So that was wonderful. And in another market, I went there with the intention of getting the Mexican glasses, just regular drinking glasses with the colored rim around the top. And I ended up bringing those home and they didn't break either. So that was exciting. So if you're looking, even antiques, there's quite a few antique stores we saw while we were there. If you're looking for art for your home to hang on the wall or just something functional to use in your kitchen, clothing, I bought a beautiful dress while I was there, shoes. I mean, there's so much shopping and art to be seen that you could wander those streets for days and days and days and not go in the same place twice. So definitely a good thing to have on your list if you like to shop, that's for sure. And then I think when, at least for me personally, as far as thinking of the top food and beverage item, when I think of Mexico, in my mind, I think of tacos and I think of tequila. And so this is a photo of the Casa Dragonese Bar at one of the rooftops we'll talk about in a few minutes. But tell us a little bit more about Casa Dragones, because I know Americans, some of them have certain ideas as to what a really good tequila is. I know a lot of people who like Casamigos, but Casa Dragones is super special. You want to tell us a little bit about why that is?
It is super special. If I'm not mistaken, the picture that you're showing is the Casa Matilda roof, right?
This one is, I think this is the rooftop. This is at Amate. So this is the new
Amate, the new place, the
yeah,
one that opened
right.
in January. Yeah, but because it looked familiar to me. But you know, we take people. I don't know if you were able to go to the historic Doce 18. Are you familiar with it? Because there is where Casa Dragones actually has a very extremely special, you know, renovated space from 2 centuries ago, actually. And they have just a six seats testing room there. It's just full of art, you know, and of course, it is a very amazing space to actually experience the tequila. As you were saying, Casa Dragones to me is one of the best tequilas in Mexico today, even though it's produced not in the state of Guanajuato, because as many of you know, I mean, the tequila needs to be origin denomination from Jalisco, and is produced actually in Jalisco. But Berta, the founder and owner of Casa Dragones, actually she is related to the Matilda hotel ownership, and then they have this space in the hotel and in many other areas of San Miguel. But this particular historical place where they do the testing in Casa 1218, it's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. So the tequila is top quality, produced in Jalisco and showcased in San Miguel de Allende in many ways.
I think their tasting room is undergoing renovations, which is why I didn't go see it. But I did go to Casa Matilda and see they have two bars there, one outside and one upstairs. And the upstairs one, they do like a tequila tasting and I think even a cocktail making class with Casa Dragones. So lots of opportunities to drink tequila, of course, if you're in Mexico, and learn about it. And we'll touch on, we did like a tequila tasting class on the rooftop at our hotel, which was lovely. And then my husband got so interested, he went and did some research about all the different añejos, reposados, blancos, and sent me a summary of what he learned. And so maybe I'll put that in the show notes of the show in case other people are interested. And to your point,
actually a sipping tequila.
Yeah, this is sipping tequila, right? This is not doing a shot tequila. Definitely not. And to your point about it not being from here, tequila is similar to champagne in France, right? You can't call it tequila unless it's from that area, just like you can't call champagne champagne. So the Italians, you know, they have their own bubbly wine, but they can't call it champagne.
Prosecco.
Yeah, they'll call it Prosecco. Anyway, so tequila is similar. So you can't call it tequila unless it's from this area in Mexico. This is actually the tasting that we did on the rooftop of our hotel. So we were staying at the Belmond and our hotel room had a beautiful terrace up top, and they set it up one day and just did a tequila tasting for us where we did taste some Casa Dragones tequila. Of course, it was the third one we tasted because you always go from, you know, the least nice to the most nice. And it was so fun to learn all about it and come back. And obviously we can go to a Mexican restaurant here. And now we're a lot more informed about the different types of tequila. That was fun. Transitioning to out of town again. You want to tell us a little bit about no longer tequila, but the vineyards that are on the outside of San Miguel?
Absolutely. This is very nearby. I mean, it's not even a, 30-minute drive outside of the city. Very comfortable. And you get to Dos Buos. This is a vineyard just next to the town where you will find actually, very surprisingly, a very top quality wine produced in central Mexico, in the state of Guanajuato. This particular one is Dos Buos, where we take our where you are able to take your guests and experience either to their preference if they want to come and see the vineyard and see how they produce cheese as well and the milk process and so on. As long as the one, we can do a lunch trip, let's say 3 or 4 hours of lunchtime, or even a dinner at the evening. So it's
Mhm,
pretty impressive. The production of wine is not as large, but the quality is getting there.
mhm.
Very well recognized these days, and you will be surprised to see this quality there.
Yeah, I actually had a red wine from, I think this vineyard when we were there, and it was delicious. So since you only have enough time to do so much when you visit somewhere, I'll definitely be going back to San Miguel, and when I do, I'm gonna put many of these things outside the city that I didn't have a chance to do on the list. Because not only is it interesting to, meet the vineyard owners who have probably owned it and their family for as long as it's been there, but also just to be out in the country and enjoying, the beautiful views, so put it on the list. Um, and then a very popular activity in San Miguel, hot air balloons. Tell us a little bit about where do you take off from these? How far out of the city?
Well, remember, nothing is very far out from the city. This particular experience is a few hours in the morning. You got to get there very early in the morning, so pretty much there is nobody else there. And the hot air balloon ride would last between 40 or 50 minutes. It's very comfortable. So at sunrise, you are going to be able to see the city from above, which is pretty unique. We
Mhm,
do this not only in San Miguel, we can do that also, let's say, in Teotihuacan, in the outskirts of Mexico City. But this particular experience is one of the most amazing and best ways to see the city from above and to
mhm,
really see what's the extension of San Miguel de Allende, the cathedral from above, and
mhm,
all of the beautiful gardens surrounding the city as well.
mhm.
It's next to the downtown area.
Okay. And it's not every city that you can take a hot air balloon directly over it. San Miguel is one of the ones where you can, and so, we actually also saw a couple of helicopters flying around when we were there too. So, I think to your point, you see the sunrises, from the terraces in San Miguel, but get up one morning and see or sorry, you see the sunsets, but get up one morning and see the sunrises from above because it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's talk about some of your and now my favorite hotels. This first one is a photo of the terrace, same terrace as earlier where we stayed. And it has a rooftop pool. It has a little terrace. It has a couple of lounge chairs. It overlooks the church. So Belmont, I love for a lot of reasons. It's really centrally located. And every Belmont hotel always feels so very authentic to the region. And you definitely feel that when you're in not only their common areas, but definitely in the rooms with their furnishings and all of that. Do you have a particular favorite part of the Belmont?
Yeah, most of them is up in the roof. Yes, the terrace.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, and I love the restaurant too. They have this other terrace down below,
Mhm,
which is part of the restaurant. That it's
mhm.
to me also outstanding.
Yeah, we had breakfast there each day, and it was just beautiful and small. I mean, Belmont has, I think I have it written down somewhere, maybe 34 rooms, I think, 37 rooms. So it's not a big
37.
hotel, and it's actually built up of lots of I think they bought former houses, so it's not actually all connected. Our particular, um, building was across the street from where, the breakfast room was, and it literally is a bunch of different little houses that they've collected, I guess, together. Um,
Mhm.
and I love this shot, so
That terrace is amazing.
yeah, so that's the presidential suite, which we could see from our terrace. It has a gorgeous fireplace that was on, and then they have a whole rooftop that runs the entire length of their bedroom, this terrace, and maybe even another room. It was stunning. So if you're lucky enough to find yourself staying at the presidential suite there, I think that you will very much enjoy it. And then you could just see some pictures of what the decor is like inside. I haven't been actually. I know I stayed at the Belmont on the Riviera Maya right before it closed for renovation. Is that one back open again? Do you know?
Partially, yes.
It is? Okay.
Yes. It
Well,
went through a big renovation recently last year over
yeah.
the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love Belmont hotels, so I look forward to that opening. And then another one, I know you like this one as well. Tell us a little bit about the Rosewood.
Well, the Rosewood is a little bit bigger. You know, it's not in the heart of the city, but not far from it. And you can walk pretty much. I mean, if you like to walk, it's 67 rooms, so it's pretty intimate as well. One of the things that I love about this place is the terrace as well, because you can see pretty much the whole city. This place actually, it was before for over 15 years called the Hotel Aristos, which was a very traditional, not luxurious property such as Rosewood today, but it's been there for a long time. You know, at least I don't know, 16 or 15 years at least as the Hotel Aristos in the old days, and probably eight or nine being the Rosewood. So it's a beautiful property. I love the terrace. I love the service. And then if you are really into being in that next to the Central Plaza, well, this is not there. It's a little bit further up, but it's a pretty comfortable property, intimate, 67 rooms. So
Yeah,
very welcoming.
I think my thought when I first entered it was how spacious it feels for being only 67 rooms. It has, to your point, it's not in the center of downtown, so it has more property. They have, I think, 3 pools, 2 regular pools, and then they also have a kids club with a kids pool. So if you're bringing your younger kids to San Miguel, it's a great option for that. And they have 2 tennis courts, and they have 3 outdoor cooking places where they do cooking classes, tequila tasting, appetizers. And then when I was on my site visit, she also showed me they have a huge barbecue area where if somebody wants to organize a very authentic Mexican barbecue, they bring in a family from outside of San Miguel, I think, who actually will do the whole authentic barbecue with you. And I believe I assumed it was going to be a pig barbecue, but I think it's actually lamb. Is it lamb? Does that sound
Could be
right?
either.
Okay.
Yeah. Could be
Yeah.
lamb, could be, I mean, what we call barbacoa or carnitas. You know,
Okay.
carnitas from the pork,
Yeah.
and the barbacoa is actually what we are referring to, the wood fire. It's from the lamb, and we
Yeah.
call it barbacoa in
Okay.
Spanish.
Then that's what it was. Anyway, it just felt so spacious. There were people taking a yoga class on the lawn. One night when we were there at the terrace up top, they had someone was having a huge wedding, and it felt like it was just completely separate from the whole rest of where people were staying. So for 67 rooms, it just had a lot of space. And I think they also have 3 or 4 4-bedroom villas on property.
They do.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a good option if you're there with a larger group, or you have kids, or you want more space. I loved it. I thought
The
it was
villas have connecting rooms as well, so it's pretty accommodating. You know, I mean,
yeah,
whatever you need, it can be
a
done.
lot of options.
It
And
feels intimate.
in the basement, they have a whole art gallery, which was stunning. So I went and walked around and saw all the art. So lots of reasons to love the Belmont and lots of reasons to love the Rosewood. They're just a little bit different. And then we talked a little bit before about Hotel Matilda. Here's a picture of the outside. You had mentioned, I think the owner of Hotel Matilda is married to the founder of, I think, Casa Dragones, correct?
Yes, he is. To
Okay.
Berta.
And so down below at this photo, you can see that's where normal breakfast and dinner and all of that is. And then upstairs is where there is another bar just for where you can do tastings and tequila classes and things like that. And they have a beautiful pool. How long has this one been open, Matilda? Do you know?
Yeah, I think a little less than the Rosewood. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
around that.
Yeah, so it's pretty new.
Less than 10 years. It's pretty new.
And you could see from the furniture, this is for somebody who's looking for a much more contemporary, clean lines versus more authentic wooden, dark Mexico. So there's a hotel for everybody. And there's so many boutique hotels in San Miguel de Allende as well, that it would be fun actually to go back and stay at different ones.
Matilda actually, you know, feels like a boutique hotel, even though it has a 32 rooms, so it's not as small, but it
Yeah.
feels like, and even, you know, the restaurant that you were referring to, which is fabulous, is called a Moxie restaurant. It's actually
Okay.
a destination. I mean, if you're staying at Rosewood or Belmont, it's worth for you to go and see the restaurant at the Matilda as well.
Absolutely. And I was surprised there's a lot of hotels that have terraces up top with restaurants. So you can go in and check out other hotels while you're there because you might be eating in one of the restaurants. One of your favorite places you mentioned, which is now one of my favorite places, is the rooftop at the Rosewood. This is the view. Tell us a little bit about why you like it.
Well, I love it just because, I mean, if you saw San Miguel de Allende from above in the sunrise, the hot air balloon, then you need to relax in the afternoon, right? And just sitting down here and enjoying the ambience and the view from the terrace, it's amazing. To me, it's the best place to spend every afternoon or evening, before dinner or after dinner, even deciding what to do next. This is a very relaxing area that I really love, to fresh air, to talk to your family or friends, and then decide what to do next morning, or just relax and have a sip and enjoy yourself. Because pretty much, as you know, I mean, me and you enjoyed that. San Miguel Allende's weather is pretty mild all year round, right? So when we talk about the best season to come, it's pretty much all year round. I mean, in wintertime, it would be a little bit chilly, windier a little bit, but never too cold.
Yeah. Well, jumping ahead about the seasonality, we loved it because it's not humid at all. The daytime is gorgeous and probably 80, but every night it cools off. So when you wake up in the morning for me to go exercise, it was so nice and cool in the morning. So it feels very different than being at the beach, that's for sure. And again, what I loved about Luna, it also feels so spacious. It is a huge rooftop. And so you have one view overlooking the sunset and another view overlooking the city and the church. There was actually a DJ there the night that we were there. Nobody was dancing, but he was playing really good music all night long. And we definitely felt like we were surrounded by a lot of Mexican families, or at least people speaking Spanish. There were more people speaking Spanish than I was expecting because I was aware that it's such a big expat community. But there are a lot of people, a lot of Mexican people who are even vacationing, or maybe they live nearby and they're coming and having dinner at these places too.
A lot of Mexico City people, actually, Mexico City is 4 hours drive, but they boom San Miguel on the weekends. So this is the explanation why, this kind of hotels, not as many rooms and so on, could be crowded some of the weekends. So, I mean, if you would like to see this place not as crowded, you can come, let's say, Monday through Friday. And it's very ideal because Mexicans, of course, travel to San Miguel from many different cities in the surrounding area.
Yeah. And I arrived on a Wednesday and left on a Monday. And I definitely felt the difference between being there on a Wednesday and a Saturday. Big difference, just in terms of how many people are at the restaurants and people walking around the streets. So Luna is not the only rooftop that I love. This is that new hotel that you brought up, Casa Mate. And they have a gorgeous rooftop that's up about 71 71 stairs to get to the top of it. And it's also, the coverage is all on top of the hotel. So they have, I think, 3 bars, the Casa Dragonese Tequila Bar. They have a champagne and oyster bar. They have a craft cocktail bar. Then they have this bar that's dedicated to the Cinco Jotas jamon from Spain. And then they have the regular restaurant. So it's really big and it's absolutely a stunning view. We saved it for our last night and I was glad that we did. The food was incredible. The champagne glasses were incredible. The service was terrific. So I highly recommend that for somebody who wants to have a special dinner while you're there. It is a little bit more removed. It's actually up at the top of the stairs that I hiked every day. So it's not in the center of town. So I would only stay there if you don't mind not being in the center. But I would absolutely recommend going there for drinks or dinner one night.
The restaurant that you are referring to is Hackman's.
Yes.
They claim to be a Michelin star.
Yes. I think so. Their owner or chef consultant already has a Michelin star at another restaurant.
Drew Degman.
Yes. And where is his other restaurant? Is it in Mexico City?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's in Mexico City, but I know about this one.
Yeah. Yeah. The food was incredible. We had ribeye that was delicious. We had the Cinco Jotas. We had like a fish ceviche. We had a delicious dessert. We had a lot of very good food. So I highly recommend.
He just uses local ingredients. Pretty interesting what he does.
Right. Well, I think there are so many fresh local ingredients. So the fact that they can take advantage of what's close by is environmentally friendly and just tastes better. This is one of my favorite little coffee shops I went in. It's called, I don't know how it's pronounced, but Kibok, Kibok, and it's 3 levels. They had wonderful lattes, as you can see from the picture, with fun latte art. And then they had a second story that was actually really low, and then on top, a rooftop. So if you find yourself in the center of San Miguel, highly recommend a visit. And I love this next one because this is just a little hole in the wall coffee place where you just walk up and literally it's just a window in the side of a building, and they had fun coffee to go. And I always like finding little things like that when I'm traveling. The coffee in Mexico was delicious. I like really strong coffee, and that was nice to know that they have it there. And then another stunning view of the city. Would you say, like I've mentioned photography before, people who go there, some of them can meet with photographers to learn how to take pictures and go to places all over the city to take beautiful photos like this. And it'd be so fun to come home with something like this that maybe is of a good enough quality to blow up and put on your wall.
And there are photography studies that actually offer workshops, so people
Yeah.
can formally go and see, and meet and learn how to proper take pictures. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
We also
They call
saw,
it a very Instagrammable city, right?
yes, oh, for sure. And we also saw people who were just painting on the side, of a road. They had their canvas up, and I don't know if they were taking a class or doing a workshop, but we walked by and saw those people. So the city is just so colorful, so vibrant, very safe, and very picturesque. And I absolutely loved it. Tell us before we go, a couple things. You talked about Casa Mate's a new hotel. I also know there's a new Hyatt Unbound that's opening. I met with the GM while I was there, Guillermo, and he was delightful. And they're opening up across from the Rosewood. And then I think there was one other hotel that opened this year.
Oh, definitely. There is a new place other than Amate, opened in January, actually, called 1810, the year of the independence of Mexico.
Okay.
I believe it was open also in January. The official name is Hotel 1810 Parque or Park.
Okay.
And they have a beautiful restaurant as well there. It was recently opened, and it's very, very beautiful.
Okay. Well, it's good to know because there's a lot of people that love to come to San Miguel de Allende, so I know they need to have enough places for them to stay. You mentioned before about the best time to visit and all year round. Even though it's a great destination for all year round, how much does it differ between winter and summer? Is it more rainy in the summer, more humid in the summer? What's your
In
thought?
central Mexico, rainy season is in the summertime, as well as in Mexico City, let's say, which means July, August, and half of September, right? And but at the same time, it's a warmer season.
Okay.
So again, I mean, you enjoyed these days, very mild weather, like in the 70s. You can hit probably the low 80s in summertime, and then you could go down to the 60s. In winter time, it could be a little windy, not as rainy, but the rain is going to come in summer.
Okay. Yeah, I would say for me, the weather was perfection while we were there. Absolute perfection. So I just might have to go back and buy a house there. It's entirely possible. I loved it that much. What about itinerary ideas to combine it with? So if somebody has more time and they want to spend some more time in Mexico, what would you suggest to add on to a trip to San Miguel?
Absolutely. Now that you were talking about your favorites, let me just provide you with a couple of ideas here, because I thought about my favorites, and then I don't know if you had the opportunity to have breakfast in a place called La Banda or Mamma Mia. There is a very special place called Queso de Luna, which is an amazing place to have breakfast other than the hotels. So if people are willing to go other places, those are beautiful options, along with the new place, the Hagmans at the new hotel, and the Moxie in the Matilda. There are a couple of restaurants as well, very well known and nice for contemporary food that I enjoy a lot. One is called Bobain, and the other one is Aperi. So just for I mean, if you want to be outside, know what's other than the hotels, this could be very well very good experiences for our guests in San Miguel.
And you know what
In
else?
terms of the rooftop, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I also forgot to mention the restaurant called The Restaurant. I learned was, I think, the original sort of high-end restaurant in San Miguel that helped pave the way for other really nice restaurants to come in. Have you ever eaten there? I did not.
I have not.
No.
No, but
Okay.
it should be beautiful. I have done a lot of different markets as well. You can eat, as you know, in the street markets, and that's an experience, right? Everything is
Yeah.
fresh there.
Yeah. We even had street tacos one night, and I learned that the hours of the street taco guy were 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that tells you a little bit about when people are eating street tacos, perhaps after they've
Rem-
had their tequilas.
Remember about the music and serenading. So always after a serenade, you need to go and get some tacos, even though it's 4 a.m. No, doesn't matter.
Ah, okay, good to know. I did not do that, but I will next time.
Good. We were talking about itineraries just very quickly, Mimi. Of course, many of our guests, actually your guests, are combining San Miguel de Allende with Mexico City because it's a like 3.5, 4 hour drive. Of course, we won't take anybody in a rush hour. We're hitting a lot of traffic. But if they prefer, they can fly into the airports, as you mentioned, Leon and Querétaro, from the airports in Texas, let's say. Uh, and I would combine as well. I wouldn't forget about the city of Guanajuato. San Miguel de Allende is located in the state of Guanajuato, central Mexico, but the capital city is actually called Guanajuato, and it's a mining city. So pretty much we can do either day tour to the city of Guanajuato, which is 60 or 70 minutes away from San Miguel, or spend 1 or 2 nights there. It's a mining city founded in the 16th century as well. It used to be very rich because of the mining industry, and it's pretty pintoresque. On your way, if you go to Guanajuato, you will hit Dolores Hidalgo, which is a different small town in which main cathedral, Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, the guy that actually did the independence of Mexico back in 1810, actually started the War of Independence from the Spanish back that year. So it's pretty amazing to see the city of Dolores. It's very rich in terms of history, and again, could be 40 minutes out of San Miguel de Allende. So definitely in terms of an itinerary, I would combine, you can do Mexico City and you can do Querétaro as well, which would be on your way. And then, of course, the three attractions in the Guanajuato state, of course, San Miguel de Allende, the jewel, but then also don't forget about Dolores Hidalgo, the town that actually where our Mexican independence born, and then the town of Guanajuato, the capital city of the state.
Okay. And I'll add that if people are interested in having a beach part to their Mexican vacation, it's also fairly easy to combine San Miguel with either Riviera Maya, fly into Cancun, or Los Cabos.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do this both airports as you were mentioning, Querétaro and León.
Yeah. We flew into Querétaro, and it's a little bit closer than León, and I think a little bit more direct to get there. So I would say if you had an option, pick Querétaro. But if you don't have an option, either one of them will work. And since we talked about so many things today that I didn't do, in addition to some of the things I did do, I know that this was just the first of many trips I will make to San Miguel de Allende, because there are so many things I need to do. There's so many restaurants I didn't get to eat at. And I would be thrilled to combine it with some of the trips that you mentioned to places, Guanajuato, I've never been to. I love to go to. So it's definitely on my list, and I hope that it's on other people's lists. This is delightful. Alfonso, thank you so much for taking the time today to share all your knowledge of San Miguel with us.
Thank you, Mimi, very much. Thanks for
Well,
the opportunity.
I look forward to talking with you more, and I look forward to having more Americans head down to Mexico and experience the beautiful culture and the food and the people. It's such a great destination for us. So thank you, and you and I, I'm sure, will be in touch soon.
Thanks, Mimi.